You started investing in real estate because you wanted financial freedom and you wanted to build wealth, but somewhere along the journey, you got stuck. I don't know if it was a deal that was much harder than you thought it was going to be, or a renovation that didn't turn out the way you expected, or maybe when you first ran the numbers on a rental property, you thought it was going to be one number, but it's actually turning out to be a different number. Whatever that is, now you're in a place where you're stuck and you're frustrated and you're figuring out what exactly do you need to do to keep going. You want to move forward, but every time you even think about your next steps, you talk yourself out of it. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly why that's happening and how you can take advantage of this next quarter to move from being stuck to taking action. Welcome back to Wealth Within Reach. I'm Erica Brown, and I help landlords be able to start and scale their portfolio without burning out and draining all of their savings. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe. I usually drop 1 to 2 episodes per week, and I give you straightforward, no fluff, good information that's going to help you stay in the game. All right, so there are a couple reasons why landlords get stuck at 1 or 2 doors. So I'm going to help you identify what's going on. Number one, you're still thinking like a property owner and not a business owner. Most of my clients I work with are not business owners. They're everyday people working everyday jobs. A lot of you guys, if you're here, you're ambitious, you want more, you want to build wealth. A lot of times you're past basic financial literacy phase and you are high income professionals that are making money and you want to figure out how to allow your money to work for you. A lot of times you're leaders in your companies, you're managers and professionals, but you may not have experience being a business owner. And so one of the first mindset shifts that you have to make is to go from thinking like an employee to thinking like a business owner. When you buy your first property, whether that is you actually went and bought a rental property or you made your first home into a rental property, it's not going to really disrupt your life much. It's not going to also be super life changing, but it is going to give you that quick win to be able to actually start seeing real estate in a different way. Now, if you want to get serious about it and you're looking to scale and buy more and more, that's when it's super important to make that shift from going from thinking like an employee to thinking like a business owner. The biggest difference between just being a property owner and having more of an employer mindset to having a business mindset, property owners just react, but business owners create systems and processes to improve. As a business owner, specifically when you are a business owner doing real estate, you're looking at what is the best and highest use of this property that aligns with the time and the capacity that you currently have that will help you to be able to make the most out of that asset. Being a property owner is what works best for me and my comfort and, makes most sense for what I want. Then at the end of the day, being a business owner, you should be driven by numbers and data and also what your client wants, i.e. your tenants or your guests versus what you want as a personal preference. Some of the signs that you are thinking more of like a property owner versus a business owner is when you go to do a renovation, maybe you're thinking about buying a property and make it into, a short-term rental or a mid-term rental. And you're getting stuck because that property has popcorn ceiling. And you're trying to figure out how much does it cost to remove that popcorn ceiling because you hate popcorn ceiling. But at the end of the day, the renters that you're renting to, they could care less, right? Because the next house is sold in the same subdivision around the corner, it also had popcorn ceiling. And that business owner, that rental property owner did the right modifications and focused on the right things like the stainless steel appliances, the updated cabinets, having a washer and dryer in unit. They focus on those things while you are focused on the popcorn ceiling, spending more money, taking up more time, and thinking like more of like a property owner, maybe trying to put your own self in the property in those shoes versus thinking like a business owner. What do renters want in that area? And how can I make the necessary renovations and changes to be able to warrant the highest rental comps in the area? That's the difference between thinking like a property owner versus a business owner. One of the ways I help my clients that I work with, whether it's in my cohort or my mastermind, is when they're renovating a property, they will literally send me their list. And I know it. I know it before they even ask me. I'm like, send me the list of things that you're going to be renovating on the property. Send me the pictures. I have done virtual walkthroughs with so many clients all over the United States telling them, don't renovate that, fix that, change that, do that, because I have a consumer mindset and I know what the renters in that area are looking for, or what the short-term rental guests are looking for, or what the midterm rental guests are looking for. I know what people are looking for in that area, so I'm able to advise them that's going to help them make the most money versus what's going to make them the most comfortable as if they are living in the property. Another sign of a property owner versus a business owner is that they don't actually know how much they're making on the property. Recently, my husband and I got connected to this guy that's doing a bunch of co-living houses in our city, and we are now getting into co-living. So we wanted to talk to someone to be able to ask them about their experience. And so he's telling me about all these properties that he has and his experience and how he screens tenants and how he manages things and how he sets things up. And I asked one question that basically let me know everything about how he manages his properties. And so, again, he has a large number of properties. So I'm trying to help to really identify, again, what is the best and highest use type of property? Is it 3 bedrooms? Is it 4 bedrooms? Is it this side of town? Is it that side of town? I'm trying to use data to help determine what that is so that we can be able to fast track and so that we're able to identify where the most successful co-living markets are in our area. So I asked him this one question: which properties in your portfolio are earning the highest revenue each month? And he couldn't tell me. He couldn't tell me if it was a duplex with 3 bedrooms or if it was the house that they converted to a 6 bedroom. He didn't know. You know why? Because he didn't know his numbers. He has been running his business being more reactive versus proactive. One sign of being a business owner is that you have financial systems so you actually know how much you're making with each property per month. This was a game changer for me because now as I'm in this growth mode and I'm buying more and more properties, I know based off of data of my current portfolio which properties are actually making money versus the ones I think that are making money. Most people think multifamily will make you more money, but that's absolutely not true. I'm working with a client now who has multiple multifamily properties, and in her particular market, her single family with higher bedrooms is actually going to be making more money than her multifamily that costs more. And so that's why it's important to truly understand your numbers so that you're not operating just off of assumption and reacting, but you're operating based off of data and systems. And I know if you've been watching this channel this year, you're like, oh my gosh, she is on her bag about systems. But you know why? Because that is what's going to help you to actually last. It is easy. It's not, I won't say it's easy, but it's not difficult to buy a rental property. But to keep it over years and years and years, that's not easy. But here's the thing: you don't actually build the true wealth that I'm talking to you about unless you do that. So, yeah, I will be telling you over and over again, and we're going to be talking about systems, okay? We're going to talk about financing. We're going to talk about, finding your next deal. We're going to talk about all the things, but I'm always going to also bring you back to systems because it's important. Okay, number 2, you have a time problem. Especially in this phase where you're in the thick of it, maybe you have a few properties and you're not making the kind of money that you want to make. So things are very tight, especially over the last couple of years where insurance costs are higher, interest rates have been higher, and just your margin has shrunk. I know it's shrunk from my portfolio too, so we've had to make some adjustments. So because of that, you tend to kind of clench in your money more often instead of you delegating or hiring someone to do something that you generally would. You do it yourself. And then you end up doing this yourself. And then next thing you know, you're doing everything yourself. And now you don't have time to actually create the systems. You don't have time to actually find your next unit because you're stuck doing all the little things that you should be delegating someone else to do. I call this, you're focusing on the $10 an hour task versus the $1,000 an hour task. And here's the truth: you don't even have time to do the $10 an hour task. Why? Because you're busy. All right. you're not making enough money to do this full time, right? So you still got a job, you still got travel, you still got family, you still got friends, and don't be in your premenopause phase, you tired, okay? So that means with the limited amount of time that you have, in order for you to be efficient, in order for you to scale, you have to focus on the $1,000 an hour task versus the $10 an hour task. I'm talking about, I was talking to a client recently, and we gave them feedback on the Airbnb listing. We're helping them to increase their occupancy on their short-term rental property so that they can get more money, so they can pay for their things that they need to pay for. But because their pictures look bad, that's one of the feedback that we gave them, is that you need to have a professional photographer come and take pictures. Pictures are between $150 to $300. I absolutely recommend it. Do not do those cell phone pictures. It affects your listing. I don't care if it's short-term rental, if it's just a long-term rental, pay the money to get to professional pictures. Beautiful thing is, most likely, especially if you just renovate the property or you just bought it, it's never going to look like that ever again. So go ahead and get really good pictures in the beginning. So they have been saying that they're going to go and update the pictures on their own. Okay. They've been saying that for weeks, but now weeks have went by. What happens now? Weeks have went by. Pictures have not been done because why? Because they only had this limited amount of time to actually work on their business. Okay. So now what happens? Weeks and weeks and weeks go by. Pictures aren't done because pictures aren't done because the updates to the listing isn't made. Guess what? You're missing out on revenue. You're missing out on daily bookings each day. That's that's just a small example of what happens when you are focused on $10 an hour tasks versus $1,000 an hour task. And I know that it is very hard. You can hear me say this from my chest. I know that it is hard because you're not making much money and you want to hold on to what you have. But what I'm telling you is that you are making it worse. By you not hiring the support that you need, you're actually taking more money out of your pocket. You're making yourself lose more money. The pivot from property owner reacting and being afraid and staying in that fear and then procrastinating over the things that you really need to do is actually costing you. The pivot that you need to make is being a business owner is recognizing the urgency and what needs to be done. And you need to do whatever you need to do to make money. Okay. All right. I know that I need to do these modifications in order to make money. Yes, things are tight. Yes, that, I'm having to figure this out, but the sooner I can move from where I am to figuring it out, the sooner I can make money. So have I gotten a credit card to pay for something? Yes. Yes. Okay. Because for me, I don't want to spend my last dime. I'm never going to spend my last dime. Right. So will I get a credit card to pay for something so that I can move quickly, so that I can start making money and then pay it back? Yes. And sometimes you got to do that. Right. But being stuck and procrastinating is costing you more. All right. So that's one of the biggest mistakes I see people make. You need to focus on $1,000 an hour task. You need to delegate the things that are just not a good use of your time, that is probably better, that someone else that you can hire will probably do a better job anyways, and focus on the $1,000 an hour task. Instead of focusing on, for example, taking the pictures, in that situation, you need to be focused on, how do I price this property correctly? How do I make the necessary modifications to the listing to increase and optimize my views so that I can get more people booking my property? Because every night that property is sitting vacant, you are losing money, okay? So you have to reframe what you're focused on. And that's what that shift is when you go from being a property owner to a business owner, thinking like an employee to then a business owner. Okay, y'all with me? And you know what? It doesn't happen by chance. It's not like you're going to wake up one day and all of a sudden you're like, I'm now a business owner. No, you have to get around other business owners. You have to surround yourself with other people who are doing it too. This is why I do what I do. This is why I recently this year started my Landlord Accelerator. It is a 4-week live program where I work with you hands on to help you to create the systems, to stop the cash leaks, to Build your buy box, hands on live for 4 weeks. That's going to give you the momentum to start. And you're surrounded by other business owners, people who are trying to make that shift to do it as well. And the beautiful thing is that you don't have to start from scratch. I've packaged my whole entire back end system and I hand it over to you so that you can just replicate what I'm doing so that you can build these systems and do these things quickly so that you can focus on the $1,000 an hour task. You don't really have to start from scratch. Also, if you want to know more about that, you can just go to the link in the bio and then learn more. Okay, one more. Okay, so here's the last one that no one talks about. And I'm so glad you stayed for it because it's so important. Most landlords don't actually have a plan. You are operating on vibes, just vibing and winging through this. And because you're just vibing, you don't know where you're going. You're just the blind leading the blind. Let me tell you this, a vibe-based real estate portfolio is not going to build you financial freedom. Having a plan helps you to know exactly what you need to be focused on so that you know what you need to say yes to and what you need to say no to. It helps you to eliminate the distractions and all the shiny object syndrome that can really keep you stuck for years and help you focus on your plan that's going to help you move the needle towards your goals. It's Q2. Do you know what you need to be focused on? What do you need to have accomplished by June 30th? How many deals do you need to be analyzing each week? What lender do you need to reach out to for your financing? Having a clear 90-day plan is going to separate you from people who just talk about it versus people who actually do it. One of the things that we do within my mastermind is each quarter we have a focus. And during that focus for the quarter, each month, we're breaking it down, focusing on one big goal for each month that we're working towards every week. I'd love to hear from you. What is one goal that you want to accomplish by the end of this quarter that's going to help you move closer to your goals in real estate? It could be big or small, but if you focus on that one goal, that's going to help you to actually move from being stuck to taking action. And here's the most important part about everything I just mentioned today. It's not just about having a goal because people set goals all the time, but did you know that you are 95% more likely to actually accomplish your goal when you are moving towards a goal around other people who are doing it as well? Yes, when you have accountability and you're doing it with other people, you are 95% more likely to meet your goal. So I would love to connect with you beyond today. If this episode spoke with you, absolutely reach out to me. You can actually book a call with me and we can chat more. Love to have you a part of our community. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you at the next episode. Bye.